Yes. Let's nuke those props. It is Nuke the Props. Holden's with you. We got Tyler coming on too. Excited about today's show as we got a lot of props to discuss. I like a little Aaron Jones this week. We're going to talk about the Chicago Bears as well. We got some questions there. If anybody's got any questions they'd like to drop into the chat, or maybe a best bet that you're on, we'd love to hear it or see it, I should say. So let us do that. If you want to drop in, I'd love to talk with you and see if we can get some bets hammered out here. Like button would be wonderful. Let's bring in Tyler, where are you today? Whoa, Tyler.
Somebody.
Whoa. You're like in a tunnel, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I like it.
Cut the circle by myself.
Did you cut the circle by yourself? Yeah. Yep. I think it's it's an interesting look, buddy. So last night, let's talk about last night real quick. Freaking CeeDee Lamb goes nuclear in the first half, gets one catch for 4 yards and two reverses, which absolutely detonated a huge play. I think it was 16-1, where we had CeeDee Lamb going for 40 in each half and Neighbors going for 40 in each half, plus 25 in each half, which was 4-1. I'm still upset at Mike McCarthy. And I feel like I say this 5 or 6 times a year. So really it's on me at this point for betting on a player playing for Mike McCarthy, man. It's rough.
Yeah, that team just looks rough all around. Like, their defense doesn't look good. Their offense is very funneled to CeeDee. They can't run the ball at all.
No.
Like, I'm starting to like at first I was like, oh, whoever loses the Dallas-Baltimore game last week, just snap bet them to make the playoffs. You'll get a nice price on them. And after watching them play the Giants, I'm not 100% sure Dallas is making the playoffs.
The issue is their running game, man. They've got no running game, and they're trying to find someone besides for CeeDee Lamb to throw to. I guess Turd Ferguson once in a while, but they don't have a lot of weapons because they had to give all that money to Dak.
Yep. I mean, Brandon Cooks looks washed now. He was getting locked up by like a third-string corner. Tolbert as your wide receiver 3 is never going to win you games. So it literally is CeeDee and Jake Ferguson. That is it.
Man, it's absolutely brutal what's going on with the Cowboys right now. I still think they back into the playoffs probably as the last seed, and then they get bounced again. But they got some issues, and the Giants were not able to take advantage of the lack of stopping the run for the Cowboys either. So I thought the Giants didn't do a great job in this game. Not at all.
No.
Looking forward to getting your thoughts.
They looked
though.
A lot better than I expected them to. I'll say that.
Especially Danny Dimes looked competent, but they kept settling for field goals.
Yeah.
And thank God he threw an interception.
We know about settling for field goals here in Pittsburgh, Holden.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Well, I mean, I got a few props here I want to get your thoughts on, and one is actually going against the Steelers. So I'm going to stay away from my best bets here, Tyler, but I do want to get into a same game parlay. Now, last week, I held off on betting the Anthony Richardson interception until we got even money. I got it plus 105. 3 minutes later, the guy throws an interception in the end zone. Okay. So that's the first thing. I think it's a live betting target. We can go back to Anthony Richardson throwing a pick. We'll just wait to see what the line is. We waited so long last night for Daniel Jones. I don't know if we can really wait too long with Richardson, right? This is another horrible matchup for him. A wonderfully talented individual who can run. He's got an absolute hose for an arm, but very inaccurate, and I see him getting in trouble this week. I'm not betting a minus 155 interception, but I am going to wait for it to get to even money, Tyler. What do you think about that?
I don't hate that idea. My worry is I know I said it with the Denver game too. This feels like one of those spots where like the Steelers are bound to lose a game. They're not going to go undefeated. They're not going to go into week 12, 11-0 until that tough stretch. They're going to lose one of these bad games. This right here could easily be the game. We played the Colts last year when they had Minshew. They threw for 350 yards, and they carved our defense up with their third-string running backs. They could easily do that right here, just running the ball like they did last week against Chicago. And our defense isn't the best run defense. Like, it has a great pass rush. It has a secondary that complements off the pass rush. But when you're able to effectively run the ball against Pittsburgh, that's where their weakness is in the defense. So I think you could see them guys move the ball on the ground. And in a positive game script, that's my only worry for that interception is he maybe only throws the ball 15 to 16 times.
Yeah, I still think he throws one, though. He's just so inaccurate, and it's not like they're not going to throw. then you might want to look at the passing yards under. And that was the other thing. I threw a little same game together with Richardson under 211 passing yards and an interception that ends up right around even money on DraftKings.
I don't mind that at all.
So again, I'll go pre-flop, but I'll pair it up with under 211 yards. I didn't like the actual number. I think he's going to have a lot of issues throwing the football in this game. You seem to like him on the ground, which is fine. Would you bet his rushing prop?
Yeah, I would. I think he runs the ball a lot in this game.
Okay. So I was just looking at his passing yards here. Let me get it back up because here it is. 170. I can get a 182.5. That to me is like right where I think that line is set perfectly. So I just wanted to bump it up.
You can't do anything with a 182.5.
No. So I bumped it up to 211 and an interception. So that's going to be my first bet. My second bet, I wonder what you think about this one. Aaron Jones, over 56.5 rushing yards at BetMGM. Okay. So yeah,
love that.
Revenge game. Boom. That's the first thing. He actually spread his father's ashes on Lambeau Field. You remember that? So we'll take Narrative Street one step further and go with that. Here's his total so far. 14 carries, 94 yards, 9 for 32 and 19 for 109. That 9 for 32 came up against San Francisco when they only had the ball for like 25 minutes, Tyler. He is the second best running back in the league at yards after contact per attempt. So even when he's getting hit, he's still bouncing off. You'll remember a couple weeks ago, we took Jonathan Taylor against this Packers defense that has not been able to stop the run for, it seems like, a couple of years now. He's second in yards after contact there, 8th in explosive rate, which I think is a huge number. I was just going through Next Gen today. 9th in missed tackles per rush attempt. He says he's going to leap and he's going to do the Lambeau leap. I mean, he's already planning for a celebration, so I'll throw a little touchdown in there too at plus 125, an Aaron Jones touchdown on FanDuel. He scored 2 of 3, a rush, a receiving touchdown. I'm all about Aaron Jones this week, 56.5 to the over at BetMGM at minus 15, and a Aaron Jones anytime touchdown at plus 125. What do you think of Jones this week?
Yeah, love that. The more I look at this game, the more I think Jordan Love does sit. Like, why bring him back against this Flores defense? Let him sit one more week, get fully healthy. So I think you're going to get Malik Willis out there, which probably leans more into a Vikings winning script. Probably means they get to run the ball more, which means Aaron Jones should be able to crush that number. There's a FanDuel special up this week, Holden. It's not like 16-1 like our J.K. Dobbins one, but it's plus 550. And it's Aaron Jones to rush for 25 yards in each half and Saquon to also rush for 25 yards in each half. Philly has no offensive players outside of Saquon and Dallas Goedert. So as long as they're able to play football in Tampa Bay in that rainstorm, he should be able to run for 25 in each half.
I like
that.
And
I think Aaron Jones is very live to do that also. So love that special and also love the prop on Aaron Jones just straight up.
Hey, throw us your favorite bet in the chat. CJ says, Mike Evans, any props? Which is interesting because you'll just look at Mike Evans and say, what has he done? He hasn't done anything lately. Well, last week he had to go up against Sertan. He's had some tough matchups. What do you think of the Philly secondary? Because Mike Evans, any props? Okay, I'll take his yards just because he could have 3 catches for 110. But where are we on Mike Evans this week?
I'm not touching any props in that game that are going through the air. Like, I know we just talked about Saquon, but Saquon get handed the ball. It is going to have all the effects of the hurricane down in Tampa Bay. It's going to be a rainstorm on that field. It says there is just a plethora of rainstorms coming through there. That they're going to be playing in a mud bowl. I don't want to do anything with the ball going through the air. This might be one of those games where they try and throw it in the first quarter, and by halftime you realize that they aren't going to be throwing it much in the second half.
We do have some injury news that's popping up here. Chris Olave, hamstring injury in practice today.
Yep.
No Evan Ingram. We know what kind of a disaster the Jaguars have been offensively. And when Evan Ingram isn't in there, it's been a complete dumpster fire. So I think we've got some issues there, Tyler. I think that's a big injury as well. Bijan Robinson, good news. He was a full go in practice today. So you'll see him out there. But Devontae Adams is out. Michael Mayer is out. So in Oakland, or I should say Oakland, in Las Vegas with the Raiders, maybe Brock Bowers. I don't know. Aiden O'Connell, though, I have a hard time trusting anything there. But no Devontae and no Mayer. That's big issues there for the Raiders.
Oh, definitely big issues. I can't bet this game though, Holden. I told our guy Spread last week after he said we had to bet the Raiders against Carolina, and I said I don't like this, and he walked us into the death trap where Andy Dalton threw for 300 some yards on us.
Yeah.
I can't touch a Raiders game any which way. Player props, side, total, none of that. I don't want anything to do with this team. They're banned.
Okay. So let me ask you something here. Andy Dalton last week. The Red Rifle returns. Is this Joe Flacco part 2, or does Andy Dalton fall flat on his face?
I don't think he falls flat on his face, but I don't think we get that performance week by week like we were getting with Flacco last year in Cleveland.
Okay.
I honestly think that was just the Raiders doing what they do best and just going, well, everyone's saying we can't lose this game any which way. Watch us lose it every which way. So I think it was more of the Raiders just giving Andy Dalton the prime spot to look great. I don't think he looks like that all year.
So just his prop is 227.5. It's a pretty low number. The guy that I was really interested in was Deontay Johnson. Now they opened the prop up at 4.5, but it was at massive minus money, like minus, I want to say 140, 150. And then they put the 5.5 up there. And I'm just going through the history of the bet here. They put the 5.5 up there at plus 10. That's the best number I'm seeing at Bet 365. Not plus 15 at BetMGM. So BetMGM's got a number there. That's the one guy from this team I really like because he finally showed up. I know he had a little tweak of the groin. He said he was going to play yesterday. He's out there practicing. He's going to play. That to me is a pass funnel right there. I think Dalton's going to Deontay all day.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, this, like how you just said, is this Flacco from last year? Him and Deontay Johnson could have similarities to Flacco and Njoku from last year, where it's like, I'm just going to pelt one guy. He's going to crush his props every week. And that's how this is going to go. So I don't hate looking at DJ. I mean, DJ's always been a reception hog. He's been like that in Pittsburgh. Runs a lot of slants, a lot of short routes. And he was even getting open on the deep routes for Andy Dalton in that game. So I don't hate that look at all.
Is Njoku out? Yeah, we just got word. Look at the tight ends that are out this week. Trey McBride's out. David Njoku is out. I mean, it's just tough. Tight end's been a tough position this year, and I don't have anything. The only other question I asked you is about Kelsey. Like, there's been so much pressure on him this week. He's getting asked questions. He finally went to the podium today. He's got podcasts. People from outside are ripping him because he was banging Taylor Swift and not practicing football or something. Can you trust anything with Travis Kelsey in week 4?
His unders.
Really? Would you bet him, or are you just saying you could trust it?
I mean, let's look at the numbers and see how far.
I'll tell you what it is. It's 4.5. It's 4.5 receptions plus money to the under plus 10. All right. And his receiving yards is 40. You don't see this. It's down to 46.5, Tyler. 46.5.
I like the under 46.5. He just doesn't go get, like, he'll get open if they absolutely need him to, but this is against the Chargers. Doesn't look like they're going to have Derwin James. I don't think they're going to be a threat to beat the Chiefs much in this game. They're probably playing with a lead. I don't think they're going to utilize them in spots like that.
Yeah. Brock Bowers went for 58, and really that's the only tight end that did anything against the Chargers defense. Yeah. So it's a little bit disappointing to see the end of Travis Kelsey, but again, playoffs come. He'll probably be fresh.
He did it last year, so it's like he's not going to do anything until he absolutely needs to, and then playoffs roll around and he's prime Travis Kelsey again.
Yeah, Chiefs go through the motions, man. That's just what they do
in
a regular season now. Hey, like button will be great. If you're watching on X, come on over to our YouTube channel, Nuke the House. If you have not already, and you are on YouTube right now or even X, make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications so you know when we're live. We got shows all over the place. We got MMA tonight, an MMA show. I know Coop and Keg are going to be there. Saturday, we got college football live show. Sunday, Keg and I from 12:30 to 1 get you ready for the slate. We follow the late steam. The books are always making money, so it's not bad to tail the books, which teams that they need. And then we'll have our live show behind the paywall from 1 to 7 Eastern time, maybe a little after 7 because it's the 4 o'clock games. And then he and I will be live for our final free Sunday show. We're going to be moving it to half and half free, half premium. But Sunday Night Football, we will be live once again. I'll let you know how to get a free week in just a few minutes. But Tyler, I want to get some of your bets out here today. Let's go. We got any long shots or mild long shots besides for the Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley bet you talked about earlier?
I mean, I don't hate going back to that Pittsburgh game we talked about earlier and going to the Pittsburgh side of the ball and laddering up George Pickens' receiving yards. I mean, these corners for Indianapolis are absolutely terrible. I think there's a pathway where the Steelers are kind of playing from behind, which means Fields is going to have to throw the ball a bit more. He threw for 250 yards last game, so he's shown he can put it through the air. And you're getting, what is this on George Pickens? You're getting 52.5 on his receiving yards. He's hit that 2 of the 3 games, and we know he can go for big chunk plays. So you look at some of his ladders, 60 plus is plus 120, 70s 175, 80s plus 260, 90s plus 350, and 100 is 5-1. He could easily get 100 yards and a touchdown in this game, in this matchup. So I love laddering George Pickens up in this spot. Another guy I don't mind laddering is Breece Hall against that Denver defense. I know everyone thinks Denver's defense has been better, but they played Tampa Bay last week. Yet Tampa Bay has the names and the weapons on offense. They were missing a lot of linemen, and their defense was a shell of itself, so they were playing from behind right off the bat. I do not think the Jets do the same thing here. I think the Jets are able to put it on Bo Nix, get a lead, and just ride those 2 running backs in Breece Hall and Braylon Allen. And I think Breece Hall could crush that 65-yard number. I think he could be another one that clears 100 yards.
Yeah, so you're not worried about Allen in the backfield?
No. I think he could steal some carries, but I don't think he could steal enough to where he's hindering Breece that much, especially in a game-winning script.
Back to Pickens, I watched him go up against Pat Surtain, and again, I think Pat Surtain Jr. is the best corner in the league. You go look at what he did to Mike Evans, embarrassed him. And George Pickens didn't put up a monster game, but he did beat Surtain on multiple occasions. He forced a PI. This guy really is an elite talent. They just need to find and get him the ball. But my question is, if Roman Wilson comes back and makes his debut, he has had a full practice all week. I don't even think he's on the injury report. How does that affect things? Do you think that helps Pickens, hurt Pickens? Because I really can't get a read on it.
I do not think it affects him very much at all. Just because, one, the guy hasn't done much outside of anything out of OTAs because that ankle injury happened in training camp. So he went right into a walking boot. He didn't do anything in preseason, didn't do anything in training camp. I don't think he just strolls back out onto the field after a couple of practices and just demands all these targets. I think he could run the wide receiver 2 routes, but I still think Pickens is the de facto one. He's going to get all the targets. And Freiermuth might be the guy that gets more targets than Roman Wilson. He just might be out there as the blocker for the first few weeks to get him up to game speed. So don't mind looking at that, but I don't think he affects Pickens at all.
Any interest in going after Stephon Diggs with Nico Collins having a hamstring issue? Tank Dell's out as well. What do you think of this Texans offense? Because they have not really been clicking on all cylinders. The Vikings embarrassed them last week, but it's a much easier matchup against the Jaguars.
Much, much easier matchup. I do agree there. I mean, he's got to throw the ball to somebody. Diggs' number is 60.5. That is not bad. What about Dalton Schultz, though? Let's go even lower. The tight end. His number is 32.5. He's going to get some targets here. He could easily crush that 32.5. He could be target number 2 or 3 on the board with all these guys out, especially if Nico goes to the sideline with that hammy injury too.
All right. Well, Nico Collins is practiced today. He's got the hamstring injury. He's trending toward playing. Okay.
Well, we know how hammy injuries are, though. He could run one route that could re-aggravate, and we could not see him the rest of the game.
I mean, Keg and I were looking at laddering this dude, and his 100 plus was like 2-1. It's just Nico Collins has turned into an absolute beast. Hey, drop us your best bets in the chat. You got any questions? I got another question from you from Hurricane Ditka. We'll get to that in just a second. Any more bets for you? Because I'm going to plug the site here in a second.
Looking at it as of right now, not really. I mean, I do kind of like Kyron Williams to score a touchdown, but it's pretty juiced. Maybe wait and try and bet that one live when Chicago has the ball and get a plus money one on that. Outside of that, I mean, love the idea of waiting to bet these interception props till they're live and you're getting plus money on them. Don't lay minus 120 on these interception props or minus 130. Just wait until they don't have the ball. Let that odds come up, and then you'll be able to cash it, especially when you see the quarterback go into the trailing script. Like we had the Daniel Jones one last night, and it's like, oh, it doesn't look like we're going to get there. It's like, well, he's going to give us 3 or 4 shots on this last drive. And it took to the last play of the game, but we still got it home. So I love betting those live INT props.
Yeah, thanks to Iowa for that. Hurricane Ditka in Iowa had questions about the Bears running backs and some TDs. But first, let me tell you, right now, if you are not a member of Nuke the House, we got a deal for you. Sign up for any plan. Go to nukethehouse.com, hit subscribe. We're not going to charge you. All you got to do is put in the code NUKENFL, NUKENFL, Nuke NFL, free week. Hang out. If you like it, sign up. If you don't, sign up, because you shouldn't be doing this just for 1 week, but you get to dip your toe in the water. You get to see how we bet. People are betting minus 125s, minus 150s constantly. And this is how the books win. We do it a different way. Are you going to sit there and go, oh my God, I just lost 70% of my bets? Probably. But when you're hitting 6-1s, 8-1s, 12-1s, 16-1s, that is going to cover all of those losses. There's a reason why Keg and the boys are up so many hundreds of units every single year. And it's because it's a different way to attack the sports books. We do it pre-flop, but we also do it in-game. And we do real-time in-game betting notifications right to your phone. So let's say you want to bet on a game, but you can't watch it. Just have your notifications on. If there's a bet in that game, we bet a lot of games. You'll get it right to your phone. We'll tell you the book. We'll tell you the price. You go there, you bet it, and hopefully you win. Okay, here was the question from Ditka and Iowa. Oh, my God. I wish he would have shared this prop with me. He had DeAndre Swift at like 40-something yards to the under, and that thing has dropped to 35.5 yards. I don't see Swift getting a lot of action. And even if he does, he's had massive issues. He's got 1.8 yards. But let's look at the touchdowns here, because you like Kyron Williams. Dick and Iowa wanted you to talk about Roschon, anytime touchdown, plus 225. And then there's the report that Herbert's going to be the goal line back at plus 550. Where are you on that one?
I don't hate taking the shot on Herbert, maybe even the slight shot on Roschon. Their offensive line is so bad, though, that I really don't want to get involved outside of those touchdown props at the plus money. You're getting $2 on the Roschon one. You're getting $5 on the Herbert one. I wouldn't sit there messing around with their rushing yard props or anything, though. I mean, Swift was averaging 4.5 yards per carry before he showed up in Chicago. I know he's not the best running back, but he is not the worst. He looks like the worst behind this terrible offensive line.
I'm surprised I didn't hear you go to the Najee Harris props with Jaylen Warren out.
I mean, we could go that route, but I think this is the Pickens show. I think Pickens inside this dome against this bad secondary is going to cook them.
Yeah, you're right, Tim. Eberflus is a complete disaster in Chicago. Who knows what's going to happen this week? I mean, we've seen enough of Swift. I know they spent money on him, but he's just been so ineffective. And at least Roschon showed some life last week. He's decent in the running game. He's very good in the passing game. So I think this is a guy that in Roschon Johnson that deserves a shot right now. And Swift constantly injured. And now that he's healthy, he hasn't been able to do anything, Tyler. So it's a little frustrating. The other one that we had in the Discord was the Roschon rushing prop over 30.5. Now, isn't this a little bit risky given that we really don't know how much work Roschon's going to get? But with that being said, it's a great matchup against the Rams. We do think that let's say Roschon gets 10 carries. Do you think he can get 10 carries this week? You average 3 yards, you're over that prop. You're right there at the prop. 30.5 yards for Roschon Johnson. Yay or nay?
I'm going to lean towards nay. Just because I see the pathways where that doesn't win. What if he goes out and takes his first 3 carries and has -1 yards through him? Then they're maybe starting to look back at Swift. Maybe they're like, maybe let's see if Herbert can get some open field action. What if they give 1 carry to one of the other guys and they bust 125 yards? Now they're playing the hot hand game. They fall behind in this game to Stafford and the Rams. The run game kind of goes out the window. I just think there's so many pathways where Roschon doesn't get the work that people think he's going to get.
Yeah, I'm trying to find his rushing attempts. Nobody is brave enough to put it out there. 30.5 is his number at FanDuel. And that thing has actually come down from 36.5, Tyler. Today, the 27th, that thing was 36.5 earlier today. It has dropped 6.5 yards. That's a little concerning to me. Normally you'll have these numbers that get pushed up, but when numbers are getting pushed down, that tells me that some sharp bettors are on unders. So I'm going to stay away from the Roschon prop, at least for now. Hopefully he's going to be in, hopefully he's going to be in a good spot this weekend because I like Roschon a lot, but they have a lot of issues running the football. So
I got a very ugly one for you.
All right, let's go. What's your ugly prop for us, Tyler?
I don't see numbers up for it on FanDuel. I'm checking DraftKings right now.
All right, who is it?
Houston gives up a lot of explosive plays. Trevor Lawrence's passing yards are going to be really low in this game. You could do the ladder on him, and if they're just airing it out down the field in the trailing script, he could easily get to close to 300 yards, maybe even crack 300 yards in this matchup.
222 and a half. 219 and a half at Bet Rivers.
Love the over there.
Oh, God. This thing was
an ugly
bet down
one.
12 yards. This thing got bet down from 231 to 219, Tyler.
It's an ugly one, but I think there's a pathway where he's just lighting it up through the air.
All right, last chance to get your comment in. If you got any bets that you want to talk about, any bets you made, I want to recap my bets, and then we'll get Tyler's as well. I'm going Aaron Jones over 56 and a half rushing yards for a plethora of reasons, as I said earlier today. And I'm going with him to score an anytime touchdown. Also threw them both together in a little same game. I don't go more than a quarter unit on same game parlays, but I threw one down there. And then I'm going to go with a live attack again on Anthony Richardson. The second that thing hits even money, I think we got to go after it. Now, if he throws a pick on the first drive, then we got a little bit of a problem. But if we can get through that first quarter, we're going to see that number right where we need it, around even money. And I also threw another same game parlay in for fun. I usually throw 2 in a week. They will be with the 2 bets that I made. The other one is Richardson under 211 passing yards. I mean, what did I tell you the number was? Like in the 180s, right? That was just way too low. So I bumped it up about 30 yards and then threw his interception in there right around even money on DraftKings. Again, I like getting plus money on same game parlays, but I do want to dip my toe in the water on a Richardson interception just in case he throws one early. So betting his under yards, boosting that up a little bit with an interception is the way I'm going to attack it. What do you got here for us, Tyler? Best bets.
Yeah. Best bets is definitely going to be the Pickens receiving yards at 52 and a half. You could ladder that up to 100. I don't even mind sprinkling on the touchdown because I think he absolutely cooks that Colts secondary. It's not a prop, but I'm going to give a side real quick. Atlanta crushes the Saints this week.
Crushes?
They're way better than the Saints. Crushes the
Saints. You got to go into this a little bit more.
I do not think the Saints are all that good. They lost their starting center. Now Olave is dealing with a hamstring injury. What are they going to do? Just air it out to Rashid Shaheed? Kamara is dealing with a ribs and an ankle injury. And outside of his 4 touchdown game, where a lot of those came on the goal line, he hasn't put together the best rushing logs. So they're not going to move the ball on the ground. Derek Carr's going to be under pressure. And Atlanta's got the top 2 safety combination in the league. So you're not going to be able to really air it out down the field against Jesse Bates and Justin Simmons. So I think Derek Carr's in for a long one. I think the Falcons just kind of pound this Saints team, show them who's the best team in the NFC South.
Are you betting alt lines? It's 2.5 is the line. Falcons
give me all the way up to 6.5. They're putting the
Saints in a divisional game. Tyler just taking it out and put it on the table there. Iowa, I bet the Falcons money line this week too. Love the look, Tyler.
Love to see it.
That thing was 1.5, like way earlier in the week, right after it dropped. And now it's sitting here at 2.5. The best money line that I see is around, let me get my money line up here. I use unabated, by the way. They're really good. They give you all the lines. You can get it really quick. Only thing they don't give is touchdown props.
He's got another good point in the chat. Saints beat up Bryce Young Panthers in a bad Dallas defense. And after last night, Dallas' defense looks worse and worse.
Yeah. Tim is kind of on your side too. A Pittsburgh receiver is due to go off. Pickens season is this week, I guess. All right, so the Falcons is one. What was the other one?
The Pickens receiving yards. I'm going to go with a small shot on T. Higgins to catch a touchdown at about 2-1. He targeted him in the end zone a couple times in that last game. He couldn't get his feet down. J.C. Horn will probably be on Chase. I don't think Chase does that again this week. So T. Higgins finds the end zone this week, and that'll be
I might have
just those 3.
I'm going to tail you on that. I'm tailing T. Higgins touchdown. Yeah, I like that call a lot. And then what about the parlay that you gave out with the rushing yards, which is kind of in correlation with me and Aaron Jones?
Oh, the FanDuel special. If you go to weekly specials, it is to rush for 25 yards in each half, and it is Saquon Barkley and Aaron Jones, and that comes in at plus 550.
So the other one that Iowa, now he thinks Harrison Jr. is going bananas against Washington. Washington has not been able to stop anybody. The question is,
I don't think Washington can stop me from running routes.
What's that?
I don't think Washington can stop me if I went out there and ran routes. That's how bad their secondary is.
His prop raised 5 yards though. It's from 66.5 to 71.5. I don't know if I can go
he's
there.
just getting pelted with the ball though? Like no McBride.
Mm-hmm.
It's him, Dortch, and Michael Wilson. I don't think Michael Wilson steals a lot of targets. Maybe Dortch steals 5. Like Marvin Harrison's going to get 12 targets in this game. The only thing that would worry me is they rush out to a lead too fast. Yeah. And now we're just watching Connor and Benson just eat up the defense.
I wouldn't mind a touchdown on him. That to me is kind of the play there.
That's part of the route to go.
He can have a big play and then he gets targeted in the end zone too. I wonder what a Marvin Harrison touchdown
see even
is.
Money.
Yeah. You think it's even money?
I see even money on FanDuel.
Well, that's pretty nice right there. That's, you know what, Adam, I wonder what you think about that, because an anytime touchdown is wow. Even money is what you're saying? Yeah, I must say I'm there with you, pal. I'm there with you. So there's another bet right after we get off. I'm just going to dig into it a little bit more, but Marvin Harrison Jr. getting targeted in the end zone. Yeah, I got no problem with that. I got no problem targeting anybody against Washington's defense. They're winning because that kid's just running and he's been accurate. Like they haven't punted in 2 games, Tyler. 2 games.
He looks good.
They score every time.
I was going to say, that's the thing about these older rookie quarterbacks too, like Jaden Daniels. When they showed up, they were going to hit the ground running. They're 26 years old already. They don't need time to be a project and work on their skills. Like these guys didn't hit the ground running. They're not your guy. Kenny Pickett, for instance, didn't hit the ground running. He was 26 years old. He was never going to improve. It was time to go to the bench and find a new guy.
Interesting one here. Harrison Jr. Pickens 40 plus at 103. I'd rather take the numbers right there personally, but
I'd rather just
Rob's
take
on that. And then Damon, Elijah Higgins season. So I was looking into Higgins. I have some notes here. He's probably going to be the next man up, right? 30 pass routes at the tight end position, second to Trey McBride at tight end. So I think that's pretty good. 4 targets, 41 yards and a touchdown. I don't even know if they're offering his props right now, but Elijah Higgins is a guy that I wouldn't mind. Again, here's another guy that I'll have to look into. I got a few guys that I have to look into after this. Let's see if they got any Higgins props. Nope, just T Higgins. No Elijah Higgins yet.
I thought that was T Higgins. I thought that like T was just the abbreviation for something.
No.
I was like, he knows his real name.
No, he's a pretty talented kid too. If they set those numbers up, we'll see where it is. But Kyler's going to throw to his tight end. He likes throwing to his tight end. I mean, we've seen it in the past. Yeah. So it's basically Marvin Harrison Jr. He didn't go to Dortch in a great matchup last week. Even when McBride went down, Wilson's getting work. Maybe Higgins is a guy that they go at. That might be something that we target in game also, but we got to have a line first, don't we? Yep. We got to have a line first.
Got to have a line first.
So what are you betting Pickens up to then? Are you betting Pickens 100 yards?
Yeah, I will bet Pickens up to 100 yards for a small amount.
Oh, do you know what number that is?
5 to 1 on his 100 yards.
So sexy. 5 to 1 on 100 for Pickens. It's going to happen. Like it's going to happen. So here's the deal. Yeah.
I was going to say last week, it looked like it was going to happen last week, but Calvin Austin ended up being the guy that caught the slant where the cornerback slipped, and then he ran it all the way to the end zone. So could have easily been last week where Pickens was the guy. I think this week, bad secondary crushes.
My favorite bet from you is a T. Higgins touchdown. Love that look. My favorite bet for me is over 56.5 rushing yards for Aaron Jones. I know it got boosted up a couple of yards, but minus 115 at BetMGM. I should probably bet his alt lines too. I should probably go up to 70, 75, and maybe 80. So we'll look at that and we'll have to go there. But again, hit the like button. We'd appreciate that on the way out. Hit us up in Discord. You got any questions? I know Iowa's answering a lot of questions. Keg's answering a lot of questions. Coop's answering a lot of questions. We got the sharpest community out there. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous how good our guys that bet with us are. They're super sharp. We got a question. What time is the truck race? All I got for NASCAR is, let's see here, 11 o'clock, 8:30. We got Kansas NASCAR in race live. 11 o'clock, they'll do the podcast. This is all Eastern time. in-game betting show tomorrow. So Saturday starting, they're actually going to do it at noon with UFC, college football, NASCAR. And then Sunday, again, live line pregame, 12:30, market moves until 1 o'clock. Live line, 1:15 through the end of the 7 o'clock game. Sunday night football, 8:15 with me and Keg. We'll take you home live, man. I'm excited about that. So, Rob, there you go. You got a lot of stuff. Go to the Nuke the House website, and we got the schedule right there if you are a subscriber. If you're not, subscribe for any plan. We won't charge you. Enter the code NUKE-NFL, NUKE-NFL, and we'll take care of you there. Tyler, it's been awesome having you on this show, man. I can't wait to do it with you again next week. Let's go win some money. Let's go win some more bets.
Yeah, let's crush it. Aaron Jones and George Pickens seasons. Let's make some money.
Let's go, Aaron Jones. Let's go. I'm gonna have to get in on that. All right, I'll get in with the Pickens for you. Okay, I got to get into the Pickens for you.
You gotta get in.
Just staring at me right in the face, pal. All right, for Tyler, I'm Holden. Let's go Nuke the House.